That fleeting thing called life isn't always fair. Vacation time goes unused, in-laws can be a pain, fun cars often cost a fortune, but a Ferrari isn't needed for a good romp on the road. The Fiat 124 Spider is back, and even Italian. Oh, well, kind of.
The world's worst kept secret, the 124 Spider is largely based on this car. The Mazda MX-5 Miata, they're even built in the same Japanese plant. That's not a bad thing.
There are differences, obviously the sheet metal. With a nod to nostalgia, designers used classic cues from the original model that stopped coming to our shores over 3 decades ago. Blame modern safety regulations for the chunkier look. The wind and the sun can be yours for as little as 26 grand. This upmarket Lusso model goes for 30. The 124 is some 5 inches longer and 100 pounds heavier than MX-5. All this is identical to the Mazdas, with added insulation here and a laminated windshield to keep the din down. A reminder of the Fiat Chrysler hookup, too.
It's crazy simple to drop, just as easy to raise, even for a guy with rotator cuff problems.
The Spider gets a heart transplant, shipped from Italy. This 1.4-liter turbo 4-cylinder engine provides the back wheels with 160 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque, but less character out of the tailpipe than its Japanese cousin. The 6-speed manual comes from the previous generation Miata, still terrific. I'm driving the 6-speed auto box. You must move up to the Abarth model to get paddle shifters.
The turbo motor takes just a second to build power, but in the middle of the rev range, there's a nice meaty power band.
Rowing a manual gearbox would give a driver at least the illusion of directly keeping the engine in its sweet spot. I feel less engaged with the shifts done for me.
Let's get something straight. I am not the kind of guy that insists that you must get a manual transmission in a car like this. The automatic here works pretty well. It's always in the right gear. But I gotta admit, I really miss manual.
The chassis structure comes from Mazda, but the Fiat has unique springs, dampers, and anti-roll bars for a smidge more compliance, but less body roll. Retuned steering, too.
Everybody's going to compare the handling of this car to the Miata. You kind of have to. I'd say the Fiat is still fun and frisky in the corners, but a little bit more comfortable, a little less caffeinated. This is fun in the corners. You can actually feel the tail kicking out a little bit.
Buyers will simply have to test drive both to see which dynamic they prefer. The extra sound insulation and milder exhaust note adds a smoother vibe to the Italian, though the Abarth model offers more growl.
Okay, I'm doing 50 miles an hour, as you can tell by my Dennis the Menace hair. Wind management is pretty good.
Fuel economy? The EPA average for both 124 and MX-5 using premium fuel is 30 miles per gallon, except for the Fiat's automatic that drops down to 29 mpg. Shouldn't be a deal breaker.
I'm still missing that manual transmission. I'm kind of bored. It's just not the same.
The cabin looks awfully familiar, with an instrument panel that's nearly identical to you-know-what, with some nicer materials here and there. That means the user interface can be operated from here and here. The wheel doesn't telescope either. Seats have Mazda's comfy frame system that's similar to an Aeron office chair. The unique side panels? That's the big difference in here. There's an additional third of a cubic foot of cargo room in the Fiat, a suitcase this size, and a small overnight bag will fit, great for a weekend. Taken a step further, it's great for a new outlook on life. The perfect way to unwind, perhaps when the in-laws stress you out. For those wondering about choosing between 124 Spider and MX-5 Miata, well, there is no better here, just two similar but different ways to get the wind in your hair and sun on your shoulders. Glad to see the world has another affordable roadster choice. All right, I got through that one without getting clever with the word Fiata, which is not so clever since it's been overused. While this is the only moment I recorded, the Fiat got a lot of attention, a surprising amount actually. It definitely put a smile on people's faces. According to Fiat, nearly 8,000 124 Spyders are still registered in the U.S. Sales began in 1968. This one is in my neighborhood. I had a chance to buy a used one back in 1986 when a coworker was moving out of state. I ultimately passed because, well, the quality reputation back then. Another coworker bought it and said it was the most fun and, get this, reliable car he had ever owned. Go figure.
There you go, gang. That is my take on the 2017 Fiat 124 Spider. Really good to see another affordable roadster on the market. The Miata had this segment to itself far too long. Good to see an alternative, even if it is much the same. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.